I think we all know how this story ends, but the way it ended, something just feels off. Big Scarr was one of 1017's most promising rising artists, a secret weapon not just for Gucci Mane's label, but for the entire rap industry. In less than a year, he went from the streets of Memphis to blowing up off the very first song he ever made. And it's no coincidence he was born to become something special. Being just 22 years old, Big Scarr had already survived a car accident that nearly killed him at 16, leaving the scar on his chest the world would later recognize him by. He also survived a 7.62 gunshot wound to the hip, the bullet traveling into his lung, literally moving through life with the bullet still inside of him. From the very beginning, Big Scarr was living on the edge.
Like, not saying this in a good way, like on some bullshit, but like a near-death experience, like just do something to me.
Yeah, living on the edge.
Like, yeah, on God, I like this shit.
Yeah.
Like, Daredevil, I ain't gonna lie, I'm Daredevil.
But the way his story came to an end just doesn't add up. Memphis rapper Big Scarr, signed to Gucci Mane's 1017 Records, has suddenly passed away from an accidental drug overdose. How does someone stumble into success, fame, and riches, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity most people only dream of, make it out the grimy streets of the hood, tour across the country with Gucci Mane himself and his own cousin Pooh Shiesty, performing in front of thousands of people, just to quietly walk away from it all? Was it really an accident? Or was he trapped in the endless cycle of hardcore drugs, trying to cope with the pain that fame never healed? To better understand how Big Scarr ended up here, before the overdose, before the fame, before the world knew his name, we have to go all the way back to the beginning and take a much closer look at his life and the system that enabled it.
You know a Young Dolph verse?
Yeah.
Go ahead and say one.
Sammy. Nigga run from where everybody drug dealing. Sammy. You run from where everybody drug dealing.
On April 7th, 2000, in the city of Memphis, Tennessee, Alexander Woods, better known as Big Scarr, was born. Born into a big family of 8 siblings. From the very beginning, Big Scarr was very familiar with family orientation, always looking after his brothers and sisters. Living in South Memphis is every man for himself. What might shock someone from another city, the violence, the crime, the constant tension, was pretty normal here. Witnessing it every day didn't just shape kids, it forced them to grow up faster than they should. Memphis has long ranked among the most violent cities in the country. Homicide rates climb year after year, ranking second all time in the US, just behind New Orleans. Globally, Memphis lands in the top 25 for homicides, alongside cities like Colima, Mexico, Durham, Ecuador, Cape Town, South Africa, and Kingston, Jamaica. A literal war zone. But it doesn't stop there. The city also leads in drug trafficking, robbery, burglary, and vehicle theft. South Memphis, where Big Scarr grew up, drives much of that number. Even people from the outskirts of Memphis recommend people to avoid driving through South Memphis.
Memphis just fucked up now, like, niggas, it just fucked up, like, you can't even just go places nowadays, you getting shot at, it's just all type of shit going on.
This environment doesn't just influence kids, It demands survival. By the time they hit their early teens, trauma has already started to shape their choices, their instincts, and their natural way of moving through the world. But as for Big Scarr, he had protection from the streets at an early age, which came from his grandmother.
And you grew up living with your grandmother at first?
Mm-hmm. My grandma raised me when I was a baby. I was 13, 14.
Big Scarr's biological parents weren't really around when he was growing up. The person who raised him, the one who was there from the very beginning, was his grandmother. She gave him safety and unconditional love. In a place where chaos was normal, her house became a soft space, a place where the noise of South Memphis stopped, where the pressure lifted, and where he could just be a kid. She carried the weight of 3 roles at once: a mother, a father, and a grandmother. She provided care, discipline, and belief, constantly reminding him that he was gonna be a star.
Everything I do for my grandma, you always hear me speak about my grandma. I never get back eating, man. You ask my mom, I call my mom right now, she gonna tell you. That lady said that boy was gonna be the one. She said, I swear to God, Edie Mae said.
But growing up without a mother and a father leaves more than an emotional void. It leaves missing structure. A mother teaches attachment, emotional regulation, and safety. A father introduces boundaries, restraint, and how to move through the world. When both are absent, a child doesn't just lose people, they lose guidance. A grandmother can protect the home. She could offer love, wisdom, and sacrifice. But she can't control the neighborhood, the schools, or the pull of the streets. A world always watching, always waiting for the next young soul to claim. And when structure is missing, something else eventually steps in. By the time Big Scarr was 13, that something would change his life forever.
If you could talk to God and he'd say, goddamn, you give me all these blessings back right here and I can change one thing, what would it be? Like, what you'd give all this shit back for?
My grandma.
Nah, for real.
Swear to God.
Oh, she's gone?
My grandma died when I was 13 from on stage for lung cancer.
Damn.
That was my baby, raised me from birth to 13. And like, I'm gonna tell y'all something crazy. When I was younger, my prayer to God always used to be, please don't let my grandma leave me until I'm like 21.
Yeah.
Nah, don't let her leave me until I'm like 21 or 22 so I'll be able to take it.
When his grandmother passed, a big piece of him went with her. He didn't just lose a caretaker. He lost real love, safety, and the one place where the chaos of the world couldn't reach him. A guaranteed space of emotional rest. Someone who always believed in him. For a teenager, a loss like that feels like losing home entirely. Suddenly, he was forced to navigate a new world, structure, responsibility, decisions, things he wasn't ready for, lessons he hadn't learned yet. That's when he moved in with his father, stepping into a life defined by rules and independence he had never been prepared for.
So your dad, you said, is your best friend?
Best friend. Swear to God. That's my dog.
What do you guys do? Like, how do you guys bond?
Like, we just be chilling. Like, it ain't shit I can't talk to that man about, bruh. He gonna keep it so real. Like, that will make it even better. Like, this shit crazy.
Cause you think you move different and you wiser because of your relationship with your pops? I done seen plenty of clips saying that you said that was your best friend.
For sure. For shit show, this one wise.
Did he prepare you for life in the streets, or?
He taught me scripts.
Scarr would later describe his father as his best friend. Someone he could talk to anything about. Someone who finally brought structure into his life. the kind he'd always been searching for.
So it was like a moment where you guys got close, super close?
Yeah, because he been understood. But he
Yeah.
like, why you ain't been kind to me? If I would have been kind when I was a young nigga, this shit would have been like that.
Yeah, I know. I feel that.
But his father came into his life later than most. And by then, many lessons just went in one ear and out the other. Scarr was already making his own choices. Smoking weed, skipping class, getting suspended. By the 10th grade, he felt school wasn't teaching him what he needed to survive. So, he walked away from it entirely. At just 15 years old, he dropped out of high school and jumped off the porch, joining the Grape Street Crips, stepping fully into the very world his grandmother had spent her life trying to protect him from.
I jumped out the porch at 15. I jumped out at age 15. I joined my first gang, Gray Street. I'm Gray Street Crip. I joined first gang at 15. Jumped out the porch at 15. I did I don't think it ain't nothing I ain't did in the street. I done got everything I can get out the street. I don't even want no part. I'm strictly rapping.
Life looked completely different now. By 15, Big Scarr had joined an infamous gang in South Memphis, a decision that changed the way he saw the world. Being outside with his homies became the norm, and trouble was never far behind. In Memphis, vehicle theft was everywhere. South Memphis became a dangerous playground where breaking into cars and running around in them was just part of everyday life.
In Memphis, I think we still number one for stealing cars. I don't know why, it was just this trend. It was just a trend, we were going wild with stealing cars and like.
Scarr quickly caught onto it. What started as curiosity turned into routine. The thrill of stealing cars becoming part of his daily life. But on one occasion, that same thrill nearly cost him his life. In 2016, when Big Scarr was just 16 years old, he was involved in a car accident that nearly killed him. He was riding around in a stolen car with one of his homies and a few females, cutting down Shelby Drive like it was any other day. As they approached a yellow light, Scarr tried to beat it before it turned red. At the same time, a car coming from the opposite direction had the same idea, pushing through the yellow light while making a left turn into the intersection. That's when everything collided. The impact was so violent, it launched Scarr straight through the windshield, knocking him unconscious on impact. The only thing he remembers from that moment is his face and body feeling like they were on fire. The next thing he knew, he woke up in the ambulance.
I don't remember nothing. I ain't remember nothing then, but it came back to me after a while.
You went through the windshield?
I flew through the windshield. See, after a while I woke up, I thought about it. I remember somebody holding me down on the hood of the car. My face was burning. That's how I got these marks on my face. My face was burning real bad on the hood of the car. I don't think I was thinking about my teeth, though. I don't think about shit with my teeth. As long as I had my teeth out straight.
He spent 5 days in the hospital recovering. The aftermath left deep wounds across his face, including one above his left eyebrow that he would later cover up with a tattoo. He was also forced to wear a neck brace for weeks due to the crash fracturing his neck. And running down the center of his chest was a deep scar, the one that would eventually give him his nickname. And from that moment on, Alexander Woods will be known as Big Scarr.
I'm medicine, I'm never sick. No, bitch, Big Scarr call me Tony. How you gon' diss me and you don't even know me? Honey, some shots in his ass to his homie. I done blew up, now these bitches all on me. I was just broke and eating bread and bologna. No, we can't talk, bitch.
Big Scarr never planned on becoming a rapper. And that's exactly what makes his rise so unexpected. See, music wasn't his passion, it wasn't his image, and it wasn't a path he ever saw for himself. The streets felt more familiar, more comfortable. That started to change because of one person, his close friend, Baby K. Now, Baby K had been rapping long before Scarr ever considered it, uploading songs to YouTube and slowly building a local buzz. Scarr was always right there, in the music videos, on the block, on the porch, watching Baby K put words together effortlessly. Over time, something sparked. It wasn't just Baby K either. People around Scarr constantly told him that he had the image of a rapper, even though he rejected the idea. To him, rapping meant stepping outside his comfort zone, something he wasn't ready to do at all. Still, the thought never really left. Eventually, he gave in and went to the studio. He paid just $20 for the session, spent hours figuring it out, and walked out thinking nothing of it. But the room felt different. All his homies exchanged looks with each other, knowing that Scarr had something special. They told him right then and there, "You need to drop this." One thing led to another. He paid $200 to shoot the video, a small investment with zero expectations attached. And on December 17th, 2019, Big Scarr uploaded his very first song, Make a Play, expecting nothing more than some local street buzz. At first, the video barely moved, sitting at just 5 views. Then a YouTuber named Tommy Krez reacted to it. And in that moment, everything changed. That single reaction shifted the entire direction of Big Scarr's life.
How soon after you dropped the video did it start taking off? Was it right away?
It's like, I knew we was gonna do something, just cause I had a little local fame throughout the city. I knew I was gonna do like 100 or at least 50K or something, get a little buzz start. But I ain't expecting no me. Really what it was, Tommy Crazy.
Okay, yeah.
He posted on his channel and it went crazy, it went stupid. Like after I say a week or two later, I was at like 100K.
In a matter of weeks, Big Scarr went from being known in the hood to being talked about everywhere. His first ever song took off faster than he expected, spreading through South Memphis and putting his name in conversations it had never been in before. But the moment didn't land the way people would assume. To Scarr, it never felt like a breakthrough or a turning point. It felt more like another rush layered onto a life that was already moving fast, where music didn't slow him down, nor did it change his routine. He was still outside, still living day to day, still treating success like background noise rather than a signal to pivot or move differently. Shortly after dropping Make a Play, Scarr was arrested. There's no public documentation explaining exactly what happened or what he was charged with, but he's spoken about it himself in interviews.
Damn, I don't even remember. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I went to jail and got out and like shit just went crazy. But one thing about it, I was on the phone with Jay. I said, "On God, when I get out, bro, we finna go up."
No more of this, not going back.
By the time Scarr got out of jail, Make a Play had already taken on a life of his own, buzzing through the streets and spreading far beyond what he had ever imagined, eventually pulling in over 100,000 views. The numbers caught him off guard. He never expected the song to even pass 50K. And as he watched it climb, something clicked. For the first time, Scarr began to see music not just as background noise, but as a path worth taking seriously. But the streets don't care about momentum. They don't care about potential, timing, or opportunity. In a place fueled by envy and quiet resentment, staying visible while moving the same way is dangerous. Even after going viral, Scarr stayed in the hood, surrounded by the same energy, even when he finally had leverage to step away from it. That's why what happened next wasn't surprising. It was inevitable. Somewhere between shooting the visuals for Lit Ho and right before the first Swicey Boys dropped, Big Scarr got shot. A 7.62 round hit him in the hip, and because he kept moving, the bullet traveled upward into his lung.
Like, back home, like, bro, I got real war wounds, bro. I done been through it all. I got 7.62 bullet in my lung.
When I'm good, I went in the hospital. I went in the hospital a week. I wasn't even on bed rest. A month, I went on bed rest 2-3 weeks.
Surviving death, not once, but twice, reshapes how a person thinks about life in a way where time starts feeling real. They can't really see into the future because they know it's not guaranteed. Big Scarr was stuck between two worlds, a spark for music on one side and a chaotic lifestyle on the other, one that kept him from seeing what could be. Yet, every time it felt like his back was against the wall, like all options for moving forward had run out, a needle would move in his favor. His older cousin, Pooh Shiesty, was making big moves in music, dropping consistent bangers that eventually led to him signing with Gucci Mane's 1017 label. Scarr had always been around him, watching him work, and through that connection, he found a way to escape the streets. One night, he spent hours in the studio with Pooh, recording until the early morning. When it was finally time to leave, Pooh drove him back home, giving him a small, quiet glimpse of a different life. On the way, Scarr noticed Pooh on the phone with someone. That someone had a very recognizable face and tone of voice. It was Gucci Mane, a rapper he had listened to since he was a kid. Scarr didn't flinch. He didn't speak. He stayed quiet, watching, letting Pooh Shiesty handle his business. When they pulled up to the house, Gucci asked Pooh what he was up to, in which Pooh responded casually, "Just dropped off Scarr." There was a pause. You talking about Big Scarr?" Gucci asked. "Yeah, that's my little cousin," Pooh replied. Then, Gucci told Pooh to turn the car around, give the phone to Scarr. Scarr's heart raced. The moment he'd been waiting for, maybe without even realizing it, had arrived. He took the phone, listening as Gucci rapped "Make a Play," word for word, bar for bar. Gucci told Scarr how he's been tapped in with his music for a minute and offered him a deal with 1017 right on the spot. Scarr didn't hesitate. He ran inside, showered, wrapped his gunshot wounds, and stepped back into the car with Pooh, and without a word, they drove straight to Atlanta.
He like, "Huh, what? Want to talk to?" I'm like, "Shit, you want to talk to me?" I grabbed the phone. He like, we get chopping up by the time at the bed or whatever. He like, "Shit, you can go to the A, get your jewelry right now." I was shot up like a motherfucker. I hopped in the shower, went straight to the A.
The door to a whole new world swung wide open for Big Scarr. An opportunity he had only dreamed of as a kid. Working with someone whose music had shaped the way he saw the streets, the struggle, and the grind that had carried him this far.
Boom. I was just talking about this shit the other night. This is my mama's favorite artist. So like, I've
Okay.
been seeing this shit all my life. Like, this a person I've been seeing all my life. I never, so it's like, it's real special to me because I never thought I'd be able to experience no shit like that.
Yeah.
So when he called and I sent this file, I'm like, hell nah, bro. Hell
Crazy.
fuck nah. This is my mama's favorite artist.
This the
I remember my mom
infamous
used to get
Gucci
drunk.
FaceTime.
I used to have to drive home and shit. We used to bump 745 every night.
Wow.
Nigga, we shaking up and everything. Nigga, they're my dog too, my mom. Oh God. I love the shit out of my mom.
As soon as he touched down in Atlanta and signed the contract, there was no hesitation. he went straight to work, dropping the first So Icy Boys at the end of June 2020, featuring Pooh Shiesty and fellow 1017 artist Fujiano, racking up 35 million views. But even as the cameras rolled and his new iced out 1017 chains glistened, Scarr was moving through the brutal pain of his gunshot wounds. Each step, a reminder of how close he had to come to never making it here. Fujiano acknowledges Scarr's struggle in the track with the line,
"Scarr here he clay, but I'm Steph, I show at the lights."
A reminder that no amount of fame, chains, or viral views could erase the streets he had just escaped, or the battles he had survived.
It was hard, but I made it happen. In the So Icy Boys video, you can't even tell. I had my rap, I'm hurting like a motherfucker in the video. You can't even tell though. I made it work.
Really?
He made it. Scarr had finally escaped his old life in South Memphis, stepping into a new world in Atlanta. With just 3 songs on YouTube, it was enough. Enough to get signed, enough to change his situation, enough to open a door most people never see. But with every blessing came a shadow. Signing the deal brought excitement, but it also brought paranoia. He'd seen it happen way too many times before. People around him coming up, signing deals that could pull them out the streets, only for something traumatic to happen right after. Success didn't feel clean. It felt dangerous. Even as life began to shift, Scarr couldn't shake the feeling that something was coming.
This shit crazy. You know, like, and my saying was like, damn, you know, like every time a nigga get signed, something crazy happens to something. And I kept saying this shit like, damn, my own niggas got signed, shit happened to me. Ain't nothing happened to us, but we straight. And this shit happened just like that in the blink of an eye.
Signing a deal with Gucci was one of the biggest achievements of Big Scarr's life. He got to work alongside his cousin, putting records together, and travel the country. A dream come true. It was a celebration, not just for him though, but for all his homies who had been there from the very start, inspiring him to rap, to now witnessing a legend in the making, rising fast from the same hood they all grew up in. When Scarr returned to Memphis, he planned to turn up with his crew for one night, celebrating everything that had just happened. But life had other plans. What was supposed to be a celebration quickly turned into a traumatic event. Scarr, Baby K, and a few other homies were on their way to a nightclub, splitting into 2 separate vehicles. Scarr was leading the way, while his homies, Bomba and Feezy, followed behind. Now out of nowhere, Scarr noticed their car had disappeared. Maybe he'd driven a little too fast and they were just catching up, he thought. So he kept moving toward the club. When he arrived, his phone wouldn't stop buzzing. It was one of his homies, panicking, saying that Bomba and Feezy had just wrecked their car. Scarr was confused. In his head, he was thinking, nah, they're gonna pull up any second, cause they're right behind me. But when he drove over to the crash site, the roaring engine made it instantly clear it was them.
My nigga done died. Oh God. My brother Baby K still here with me. My brother Bun Feed, they died. And this shit sent me in the hole. I ain't gonna lie, like. I done lost plenty of niggas, but it's like we at this point like we good. It's us now.
Like we ain't supposed to be losing. Like
it's us. It's
this.
It's this.
Lost your accident type shit. Yeah.
Man, that shit be crazy.
Damn.
Around this time, something else started appearing in Scarr's music. In 2 of his videos, End Zone and Frozone, there's a portrait of 2 people in a car taking a picture together. No explanation has ever been given for it, so I can't say for certain who's who in that photo, but some fans believe it represents Bonbon and Feezy, the two people Scarr lost in that crash. If you know for sure, leave a comment below. What is clear though, is what that loss did to him. Losing two people that close didn't just hurt, it buried him. And from that moment on, Scarr wasn't just chasing success anymore. He was trying to climb out of a mental hole that grief had dug for him.
Where do you see yourself like 5 years from now?
Bigger than what I am now, doing something greater.
Yeah.
Most definitely not rapping though.
What you want to venture out, do other things?
Damn right. Cause like the rap like this shit. The fame and shit, that shit lame. I hate this shit. It be times I don't be wanting to do the, you know, I don't be wanting to rap, cause rapping never been my thing. I tried this shit and it worked, so I just, you know what I mean?
Kept going with
Sometimes
it.
it be times I don't want to do this shit, but I be like, shit, it gotta be something. Every time I go in there, it's one of them joints. Every time.
In his song, F the Rap Game Up, Big Scarr raps,
Sometimes I feel like I'm living too fast, reminisce about my life. That shit got me pacing, back and forth trying to erase it.
it's the reality of living fast, especially when your life changes overnight. Scarr didn't slowly climb into fame. He was launched right into it. And when that happens, there's no pause button, no time to sit alone with your thoughts, no space to process what you survived or what you're becoming. It's constant motion, state to state, show to show, interview after interview, all while the world expects gratitude, energy, and smiles. And for someone who never chased fame for the lifestyle, that pressure didn't feel like success. It felt more like dead weight. As his career kept rising, the milestones kept piling up. A XXL freshman cypher appearance, Big Grim Reaper peaking at 25 on the Billboard Top 200, Rolling Loud performances, millions of views coming in effortlessly after So Icy Boys. From the outside, everything was working. But no matter how high he climbed, the trauma never stayed behind. The loss, the violence, the near-death moments, they all followed him everywhere he went. Scarr carried it quietly, always smiling, always joking, always lighting up rooms, the kind of presence that makes pain almost invisible. You wouldn't expect someone like him to be battling heavy depression, and that's exactly why nobody saw it. There were different ways he tried to cope. One of them was music. Not actually making it, but listening to it. Before studio sessions, Scarr would play raw wave.
I ain't gonna lie. Raw wave. Like if I talked to him before, you know, on Instagram. Ooh. Like if I ever ran to do on a personal tip, I really did let him know, bro, your music get me through a whole lot.
Yeah.
I hop in this straight up, put on raw wave, hit the highway crying, listen to this shit.
Those songs became a form of therapy, a way to calm himself, to sit with what he was feeling, just long enough to release it before turning that same pain into energy in the booth. But music alone wasn't enough. The weight didn't lift, it only paused. Eventually, he reached for something a bit stronger. Something that promised longer relief than weed and longer silence than a song.
Be playing, I get high for real. But get what though? This my first time buying pill like 5 days. If you know, I take 10 pills a day. I ain't saying that to be cool. I just have personal problems that I deal with. It's depression. You hear me? So they will make me get my job done. They help me get my job done. In order for me to make music, I gotta get high. You know, I deal with depression.
But I ain't never folded though, you know.
On Face It, Scarr actually admits to himself.
All my pain, I had to face it. I tried the pills to heal my pain, but that shit couldn't erase it.
In this album that he never got to finish, Scarr finally let his pain speak. That alone set it apart from any project he'd done before. See, up until that point, his music always had a fast-paced, high-energy type vibe. Albums like Big Grim Reaper and The Return were filled with high-energy songs that didn't sit with his feelings. But listening to The Secret Weapon, it felt like everything he'd been carrying started to surface at once. The losses, the pressure, the exhaustion, the things he never allowed himself the time to unpack. Instead of burying it behind adrenaline, he let it all spill into the music. In the song Mood, he made it clear.
I just let y'all know this shit. You know I ain't been moving real fast on this music shit. Really don't like letting people know what's going on. My problems, I keep it on the inside. I don't like venting. I don't vent to nobody really. Big Grim Reaper gang, put nobody in my business. They gon' blemish a nigga image anyway.
He was telling his fans he was dealing with a lot of stuff outside of rap. Struggles he kept locked inside. Not wanting the world to see just how heavy life had become. Beneath the music, Scarr was fighting battles he never spoke about, choosing to carry the weight alone.
Sometimes, so do you have survivor remorse? Like sometimes, like, damn, my boy's supposed to be here. Or...
Yeah, all the time. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Despite surviving everything, making it out of what once felt impossible, the question still lingers. Why did it end this way? What parts of this story do we truly understand? And what was never meant to be seen? Well, what we do know is how it ends. On December 22nd, 2022, Big Scarr passed away at just 22 years old from an apparent drug overdose. This news sent shockwaves all through the culture. It didn't feel real, and to most, it came out of nowhere. Sudden, unexpected, and hard to process. But in hindsight, there were signs. In the weeks leading up to his death, Scarr's Instagram lives started to worry people. He would go live visibly high, barely able to keep his eyes open, drifting in and out on camera. Some viewers reached out, genuinely concerned, trying to help, but others laughed it off, treating it like a joke, unaware of the battles he was fighting behind the scenes, unaware of just how heavy life had become for him. The night before his passing, Scarr was with fellow Memphis rapper Big 30.
Been through a lot together, me and Big Scarr. We did a lot together. That was my homie. I was with him like the night before, like we got high together, kicked it together. Cause we wasn't talking, man. Big gave me a hug. Like, he hugged everybody in the house. You know what I'm saying?
It's a progress though. This shit ain't easy.
And you ain't in this shit by yourself, man. We got high, we chilled, we talked. He left. And I woke up the next day, shit, he dead. They telling me he dead. Like he overdosed. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. But like, I feel like that was God though. Let him come visit me, get things right with me, like, and it wasn't nothing deep. It just was a pride thing.
Yeah, could you say I wasn't talking? What was y'all wasn't talking about?
Man,
and for how long?
Something so small, just a pride thing. I can't even remember how small it was. But we fixed it though, and I love dude.
What parts of Big Scarr's story were never meant to be fully seen or understood? The place to start is with what Scarr kept saying over and over again in his music. Across different songs and different moments in his career, if you listen closely, a pattern emerged.
Thank God I made it out the storm. I done got rich, they don't love me no more. I done signed a deal, that's another reason they mad. Now they ain't want me to make it. I got a little bread, now my own people trying to snake me. I got some niggas I love to death, but I ain't know about the envy and hate. The closest ones are laid right under you, like you went and ordered some snakes. Sometimes I dream about death. They want me dead, can't let them take me.
These weren't isolated thoughts. They were repeated feelings, warnings, buried inside of his music. As Scarr's success grew, so did the shift in how he saw people around him. Love started to feel less unconditional. Familiar faces no longer felt predictable, but watchful. Being visible didn't feel like protection anymore. It felt like exposure, like every move carried weight. He spoke about how going back to his hood after the fame wasn't the same experience it once was. Every visit came with hesitation. Every decision required heightened awareness because all eyes were on him now. Not just from his enemies, but from people he once trusted.
What would you say has been one of the biggest obstacles you had to overcome to make it out of Memphis?
Leave. Hard to leave that city. Love it to death, but it's just something I hate.
They show you a lot of love up there?
And hate. It really more hate than love though, man. It's like a lot of love turned to hate. I don't know why, but it is. It's like my blessing, a curse at the same time.
Beyond what's been publicly shared, parts of Big Scarr's story remain unclear. Authorities never released a full explanation, and much of what we know about his death or inner struggles comes from family statements and interviews. Because of that, the story we're left with isn't complete. Not because anyone is hiding the truth, and not because there's something to expose. Scarr himself wasn't the type to explain what he was going through. He said it over and over. He kept things inside. He didn't vent. He didn't like people in his business. So if there were struggles beyond the music, he carried them all alone. And maybe that's the part of his story that was never meant to fully be understood. Not the success, not the fame, but the quiet pressure that came with it. The things he hinted at, warned us about, and then kept moving through life without ever stopping to explain.
He didn't know how to adjust to that. Like, it got to the point, like, before he died, he didn't want nobody calling him Scarr.
Really?
Like, he got to the point, like, bro, stop calling me that. Like,
He just wanted to be Alex, huh?
yeah, like, call me Alex. Like, he got plenty of nicknames, but, like, call him anything other than Scarr. I swear to God.
Yeah.
That nigga didn't even wear his chains. The last couple weeks he was here, like, I put it down, man. It's deeper than what they think.
Yeah.
Tell him.
You feel like he was just trying to get away from like all the attention and the persona then that kind of came with it? Or?
I wouldn't say, yeah, that, but I say he just wanted it to go back to the old days, to where people treat him like he Alex. You know what I'm saying? Not Big Scarr. You know what I'm saying?